Hi, my name is Tracy Thomas, and I'm a graduate student at MacEwan University. I will be sharing my story with you over a game of Jenga. You're going to learn how I got to MacEwan University and my journey throughout my university years. I came to Canada through a program called Express Entry. It's a point-based system. You apply if you're skilled. My point of entry was Montreal, and I arrived, I believe it was on the 26th of December 2018, and I arrived in Edmonton on the 27th of December, so a day after. Before I left Nigeria, I remember my family, because I have some family in Ontario, and they were like, oh, it's going to be so cold. Make sure you have thick jacket, get your layers. And I was like, just get my winter jacket from England and I'll be fine. I was not fine, is what I'll let you know. When I got to Edmonton, I didn't know anyone here. So before I got here, I looked online and I booked a hotel, 2-star hotel. And my plan basically was, I'm going to arrive at the hotel and then within 2 days, I'm going to find a place and I'll move into that place and everything will be perfect. I went on Kijiji that night as soon as I arrived and I started searching for a place. I found a place the next day and gave them a call. It was a shared house, all females. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I remember my first interview that I ever had in Edmonton. The interview was at 6:30 or something at night. Looking back, there was a lot of red flags with that interview, but I was desperate. I had bills to pay and I was just wanted to get a job right away. It felt like -40 because my phone was old. It died from the cold, and this was within my first week of arriving in Edmonton. So I still didn't know the bus systems too well. Of course, because it's winter, it's dark really early. I think I was about 5 minutes late to that interview. And so they wouldn't let me in to even take the interview. In England, you can take a bus going the opposite way from where you come, and eventually you'll get somewhere and you would know somewhere. I did that, crossed over to the other side and hopped on the bus. Didn't know where the bus was going. I just hopped on the bus. And then the bus got to a stop and it said that was its last stop. And I expected it. I was thinking, the last stop would be like a mall or something, and it was just some random street. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, I'm lost. And I was also really, really, really cold. I wasn't like crying oh, but like tears were just like rolling down my face, and you didn't even get the chance to roll all the way because it would just freeze up my face. 3 weeks after I arrived, I had my first job. So let's talk about my first job. My first job was at a company called Rooker. And oddly enough, it's right next to MacEwan University, like right across the road from MacEwan University. It was a sales job, a door-to-door sales. We were selling TELUS. I remember thinking, how will I be able to do this, be outside in the cold? And that was, I heard, one of the coldest winters that Edmonton had had in a long time. So it was like minus ridiculousness. When I moved here, because I had a background in law, naturally, family, friends were all like encouraging me to continue to pursue law. I've always known that law wasn't my place. So I went against everyone's advice and I said, if I'm getting a second chance, I am doing something that I'm passionate about. I wanted to be a journalist. At the end of 2019, I started getting my documents together. I found out what I needed to apply to MacEwan. Just as I applied was when the pandemic hit in 2020. Fall of 2020, I started my journey at MacEwan University to become a journalist, and I was super, super excited. I wanted to be done with this program in 3 years. And my rationale for that is because it would have taken about 3 years for me to do the conversion to be a lawyer in Canada or in Edmonton. And I was like, well, I don't want to feel like I lost something if I went for a 4-year program. So I was like, well, I'll just do it in 3 years too. And then it just balance out and everything. So I put myself under a lot of pressure. I advise anyone to do that. This is my final year, so I'm just gearing up to graduation. I actually was encouraged by my instructors to apply to the Globe and Mail. Ray, Steve, Neil, they all rallied around me, encouraged me, helped me through the process, and I got accepted into the internship. I couldn't have picked a better university. I have the best instructors at MacEwan. The instructors at MacEwan actually encourage you to explore, and that's something I really like as well about the instructors. And they are a huge part of why my journey at MacEwan was easier and successful. To wrap this up, my journey hasn't always been the easiest, but it's been extremely worth it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Thank you for watching. Bye.